Hello, this is Ways of Money. My name is Alesh and I'm here with Plamen. And what we want to discuss today in this topic is Bitcoin going to have a parabolic run this cycle or not? Was this it? Or just our opinions about this? Hi, Plamen.
Hello. So, firstly, hi to everyone who's watching this. And I would like to start this with we have to define what is a parabolic move. And the previous episode was about is this Bitcoin bull run over? So we're not going to argue about that. We're not gonna put any arguments forward on that topic. What we're going to discuss is if this was not the end. At the moment, the price of Bitcoin is like, what is it, 60K, 50K? What was it, 50K?
50, slightly above 50K.
Slightly above 50K. So the question is, if this was not the end of the bull market, meaning 69,000 was not the top. And again, in the previous episode, we discussed like what classifies as end of bull market, what classifies as a bear market. So now the question is, if we are still in a bull market, therefore the price is going to continue going up, to rise. With what speed is it going to happen? So to you, what is a parabolic move? How would you define it?
I mean, I guess there are a couple of definitions, but I mean, just the most obvious one is that you have a massive increase in price followed by a massive drop. So just the visual of it looks like a big spike and then massive drop. Similar like to if you go on a jumping board and then you drop down. So just I guess that's the simplest way of describing this.
I agree with half of that. What I don't disagree is that the drop is needed. What if you have a parabolic move up and then you stay there and consolidate? That is still a parabolic move. What you are describing, that after that we have a massive drop, is a blow off top.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
I would agree.
Okay.
And I'd just like to share just like the historic price of this historic chart of Bitcoin prices. Just so you understand what we're talking about. So this is Bitcoin weekly chart from 2013 somewhere. This is the longest I could find here. And what we're talking about is like in 2017 at the end, we had this massive run up with the price. And you can see like it's making a really like an obvious curvature. And at some point it almost goes vertical. And I think this is like the pure definition of a parabola, right? Would you agree or disagree?
Just a second. Can you please change the graph to the Bitstamp one? You have the Bitfinex one. We need the Bitstamp one. The Bitstamp one is actually older. It starts at 2011 August.
This is the Bitstamp. Yeah.
Yep. This is the one.
Cool. I have some charts here. So these are the halvings. Let me just remove some of these lines.
So let's start at the beginning. Let's start at 2013 and let's see the price increase to the first blow of top where the price goes to $200. And this again weekly chart, and we have, oh my god, how many weeks is that in the green? Like that's a lot of weeks. No, that's not to the 200 to the 1200.
This one before.
One. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the 200 run. So how
13.
many is it? 13 weeks. So, oh my god. So that's like 4 months. Is it 4 months? No, it's 3.5, right?
3.5 months of constant green candles.
Every week, yeah. New all-time high. And the interesting part is if you see the candle size, actually it increases and increases and increases, right? The last ones are the largest ones. So how much is it bottom to top? The percentage increase?
Almost 12,000. I mean 1,200%.
Yeah, so 11x extra on top of what you invested. If you put $100, you have 1,200.
Yeah.
If you put 1,000, you have 12,000 and so on. So that's 12x in 13 weeks. And this is what, like 7x extra in 7 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy, right? So this, to me, is the definition of parabola, like unsustainable growth. That in order for me something to, so okay, to parabola, it has two parameters in my mind. One is time frame, like how much time does it take to play out, and the second one is price increase. Because let's say over 1 year, if price of Bitcoin doubled, like that's not a parabola. That it doubled in a year. Like in crypto, that's not that impressive. At the same time, though, if we decrease the time span from a year, let's say to a month, and the price doubles, sure, maybe it's a parabola. But if that was just it, the question is, what is the minimum time frame that we agree on that we will consider it as a parabolic move that is meaningful? Because let's say some altcoin doubles its price in 12 hours and then crashes back down, like Dogecoin used to do that quite frequently.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a parabolic move, but it's meaningless to us, kind of, isn't it? It's just a pump and dump. Yeah, I would say it's a pump and dump, not a parabolic move. Even though, again, parabolic move is related to the price and multiple reasons could cause it. But again, that's not what we're interested into here. So how about minimum of 2 months and minimum of 3x?
Yeah, I mean, we could define some arbitrary numbers. The thing is, the rules are definitely changing. So the bigger the market cap, those rules are going to change. So I guess what could be defined as a parabolic move 10 years ago, like in 2011 or 2013, it's not going to be valid anymore. I mean,
Okay.
it just that's the first thing. So I guess it's going to be the excess, the amount of how many multiples you can get will be decreasing slowly, and no one knows exactly how quickly. So I guess
if you check the history, maybe we'll get an idea how much did it decrease between 2013 and 2017. So 2013, we had 13 weeks and what was it? 13x, 12x, something like that, right? And after that, we had like 9 weeks or 7 weeks and we had 7x.
You mean these two bull runs?
Yeah.
But this was all in the same cycle still.
Sure,
Yeah.
So how much was it? Can you measure it quickly again? So I think it
Altogether?
was, no, just the first one and then just the second one. I think it was 13 weeks, 12x, and then 7 weeks.
12x and 7x, yeah.
Oh yeah, in 7 weeks and in 13 weeks, something like that, right? Okay,
Yeah.
let's check 2017 now.
From where? Where do you think
wherever you see a bunch of green candles.
So this is already. Should we ignore the one?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. 11 weeks, 2x.
Yeah.
So that's 3 months, 2x.
Yeah.
I mean, it's decent. Let's see another.
But we had three of those, right?
Yeah, sure.
So
2x in how much? 6 weeks, almost 2x.
Yeah.
Okay.
Almost
let's
2x.
The next one.
And this one. Sick and tired of this. So it's almost 5x, and it's in 11 weeks.
11 weeks, 5x. Okay.
Yeah. Almost.
So we are definitely seeing a decrease, right? Because before that, it was every week the price doubles and doubles and doubles, not algorithmic, but linear, meaning that it doubles the initial price, right? 12x, 12x, 7 weeks, 7x. And here, at the end, it was half that, right? Double the amount of weeks compared to the excess that you get.
Yeah.
So maybe a reasonable expectation for this bull run would be like, this would mean like in 4 weeks, if we have double the price, and in 8 weeks to have let's see, what did you have?
So if we go to the top, let's say it's like 5x in 27 weeks from here. Depends where you start, but like this is the most obvious bull run, right?
Yep.
So this is when we broke the previous all-time high. No, this started from at 10K, yeah. So from 10K to 60K, about 5x. And the majority stopped here already. So this was 19 weeks.
Okay. And let's check the previous one. If we check that one as well.
You mean this one?
No. I mean like up to 40K. How many weeks did it take, and how many?
this one.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be 4x actually. The question is how many weeks?
Yeah. No, it's not even 3x in 13 weeks.
Yeah, it's 3x added, but 4x in total. Meaning if you put 10K, you're gonna have 40K with 30K extra.
Yeah.
Okay. So
and this is one like just basically doubled. Yeah. From 30 to 60. I mean, this one is quite on par with the previous one, right? Like with some of these.
yeah. So I would classify it as a parabolic move. We had the 10K to 40K to 60K. It was a parabolic move.
No, 10 to 60 was the difference is what you mentioned. So it wasn't a blow off top.
Mm-hmm.
The move itself, at least until this point, right?
Yep.
We could definitely say this was a parabolic move until here. Then it started like it didn't drop, but this was definitely like it was just going insanely up.
Yeah. So 20 weeks, 5x. This would mean that we did a 5x in 5 months. So every month we were doing an X. And I would say everything that is better than every 2 months, adding another X is a parabolic move. Because again, at 2 months, because before that it was, just a second, we're going 1-to-1 with the weeks. Then we're going 2-to-1 to the weeks. And now if we go 4-to-1, meaning every 4 weeks, if you add another X, so you invest 10K, and in a month it becomes 20K, and then in another month becomes 30K, and then another month 40K, and so on. To me, that is a parabolic move that you want to capitalize on, meaning do not sell until the run is over. And if you catch the top, you're going to make like the most return from the bull run.
Yeah, I would agree. Just playing with lines here a little bit.
Okay. Can you please Google Bitcoin richest addresses? Something like this. And what you're going to have get is this table with top 100 richest addresses.
Yeah.
And the third one of them is a whale with, I think it was 120,000 Bitcoin now, something like that.
Yeah, 119. Yeah.
Yep. Can you share the window?
Just bear with me. You mean this, right?
Yep. So this address at the moment has 120,000 Bitcoin. His last purchase was of 300, what was it, 47 Bitcoin, something like that, scroll down.
347, yeah.
Yeah.
317.
317, and then 132, 158, 230, 2,700, and so on and so on and so on. It didn't stop buying Bitcoin for a month. But if you check down the table, you're going to see that he's not only buying, he's also selling.
Yeah.
And if you do analysis on his purchases and his sales, pretty much whenever we have a run up, he starts distributing, he starts selling on profit. Whenever the price dips, he starts buying. Yeah, that's the only outlier right there. For some reason, he sold pretty much the bottom there and not the top.
That was March, right? Last March. That was the big Corona crash, wasn't it? Am I correct?
No, this is this year. This is January 2021.
2021. Okay. And this one doesn't go further back, right? This chart.
No, but that's maybe because it's that's when the address for the first time hit any Bitcoin on it.
Yeah. So this address actually started here.
Yeah.
Interesting. And it started with 40 million.
I'm not convinced that he got from the starting point where we are today by trading. I think that extra funds are being added constantly.
Yeah.
I am very skeptic that he turned 40 million into how many billion is it right now? Like 4 billion or something. 6 billion.
So it's profit from it's 6 billion, but profit from price change is 3.4. I mean, this whole thing is pretty close to MicroStrategy, isn't it?
It is. I was thinking about that. But he must be buying at that time, and he must be selling as well, which maybe he's doing. We don't know.
The other thing that's really like, if the profit is at 3.4 and total is at 6, this also brings this also brings his purchasing average Bitcoin price pretty close to what Michael Saylor has, right?
Yeah, 37. Yeah,
not 37. It's 29.
Yeah,
I think the last one was the last one was 29. So this is pretty close to what he is doing. I'm not. When did he do the bigger? But he's like
October last year.
Yeah. Because you don't know, right? You don't know if he's actually selling here or is he just moving it and then.
Yes, we don't know.
We don't know. It just maybe it could be just moves.
Sure.
But it's big coincidence, right? What about the other addresses? Oh, this is Binance. So this one is the only one that's.
It's not tagged as a certain exchange. So my point why I wanted to bring this address as an example was that he sells the run-ups and he buys the dips. If all of us were doing that, we cannot have parabolic move because we have too many sells. The price is going to increase, but in my understanding, a parabolic move is happening when everyone is bullish, when the holders are bullish and the no-coiners are bullish. Because if a no-coiner purchases Bitcoin, he must be thinking like, Bitcoin is definitely going to 100K or 200K or 300K, and he wants to buy some before it gets there.
Yeah.
And at the same time, though, if you're a hodler and you already bought Bitcoin at 10K and now at 50K, you're at 5X. If you're not bullish, you're going to sell right now, right? Like it's 5X, like, walk in the profits.
You're happy, right?
Yeah. But if you're bullish, if you're like, oh no, bro, it's definitely going to 100K or 200K, like you're not going to want to sell. So a parabolic move in my head happens when both the already existing investors and newcomers are bullish. Otherwise, whoever has the Bitcoin, he's going to be selling. He's going to be pushing the price down with his sales. And then we cannot have a parabolic move. So if everyone follows this tactic from this well, the price slowly is going to grind up and possibly exactly in the same way that we see since June. A run up, a dip, a run up, a dip. You sell during the run up, you purchase during the dip, and even if you didn't repurchase the same amount of coins that you had initially, in dollar terms,
you're making a profit.
You're making a profit.
Yeah.
So yes, sure, you could have made more profit by just not touching your portfolio, but you're taking more risk doing that.
I guess a good question would be, what is needed for a parabolic move? Like, what kind of players are needed? Because if everyone is, as you're saying, like if everyone is doing the same thing as this whale is doing, that's not possible. The price would be just fluctuating up and down and up and down. So I guess either...
Not really. It wouldn't be fluctuating only up and down. It will slowly climb because we're not at 100% penetration of the adoption, right? So we still have a lot more new players coming in.
But what I'm meaning is like up and down. Maybe trajectory is slowly up, but it definitely wouldn't be an exponential move, right?
Yep.
And I think in order to hit parabola, we need to have a massive influx of new people buying Bitcoin, new investors coming in and basically FOMOing in Bitcoin, basically the top, and that's what triggers that those insane moves that you just can't predict, right? It's not, you can't calculate them, you can't predict them. It's just like it's Wild West at that point.
The thing is, it doesn't need to be at the top though. What we discussed earlier, like it doesn't need to be above top when you have a parabolic move. Like here, literally in front of our eyes is the example.
Yeah.
From October last year until January, we go from 10K to 30K. And then we go to 60K, 58K, or whatever it was in the next 2 months. And they didn't have a blow off top. Like we have months and months ranging between 50 and 60K, and then the massive drop down to 30K. So you cannot call that a blow off top, but we did have a parabolic move. And most probably, if we are right, the price is going to continue climbing up. So therefore, this was not the end of the bull market either. You're saying like what players needs to enter in order to have a parabolic move? Like they have to be with massive capital and they have to create insane buying pressure. I doubt that they will do like a market order buy for 100 billion. Like if they try to do that, everyone who is working for an exchange or over the counter is just going to tell them like that doesn't work like that. You have to enter the money a bit slower, otherwise you're going to spike the price too much. And at that point, they'll have a strategy for the next 2 months or 3 months or 6 months to enter with the capital, which could be a billion, 5 billion, 10 billion, 100 billion, whatever it is. So that's one way to look at it. The other way is, again, though, everyone to be bullish, right? So there have to be really, really good news. Like another 2-3 countries recognizing Bitcoin as legal tender. Another large company like Tesla accepting Bitcoin as a payment, and Tesla resuming the Bitcoin payments. Another thing that could be is as US is running the world pretty much, to have a really big name in US politics endorsing Bitcoin.
Do you think that's enough?
A combination of these.
I think you then also need a big percentage of people being, because of those type of news, being so bullish that they say, I'm not going to sell at all. And then obviously you have much less sellers and buyers, and that's what ultimately brings the price up. But I still think the ratio between the experienced investors and experienced traders versus the less experienced one needs to be at some certain degree, right? So if you have 80% of players or investors in Bitcoin that are seasoned, like in Bitcoin, let's say 4 or 5 years, they already witnessed one bull run. If majority of the market is like that, I don't think such parabolic moves are possible, because people like those type of people don't FOMO in as much, so they already burned most of their ammunition lower down and so on. They probably are taking some profits because they learned the hard way that not taking profit is bad and so on. So I think it's also the ratio between how many new participants, or at least in the active pool, right? Maybe there are altogether like 80%, but they're not like, for a portion of them, it's like, I'm not selling for 10 years. And I'm not even looking at the chart. I don't care if Bitcoin goes today to 200. I don't care. I'm not selling until it's 5 million, for example. So you have those type of people. But in the active pool of people who are actually buying and selling, you need a certain portion of basically fresh people who don't have that self-control, and they see, oh, the price is going up. I need to buy. And that's what's ultimately driving the price like in that manner, because that's not a rational way of buying, right? If Bitcoin goes today to 80, for example, a rational investor would not buy at that point, most probably, right? Or even if they did, they would buy with like a small portion of their funds. So I think, in my opinion, that's also needed for that kind of move.
I feel like there are now players in the crypto space that are not per se bullish on crypto adoption, are not per se for the cause. They're literally here just to make money, but the thing is they're also working with a lot of money. What I mean by that is that the early adopters, the early whales, the OGs of crypto are people who saw the potential in the technology. Yeah, sure, they were like, I'm going to make some money as well, but the main thing, the main reason that got them into crypto was the technology, the change it could bring to the world. And now you have these hedge funds that have experts of TA, experts of literally manipulation through marketing, through media, and they're thinking, okay, this is quite volatile. It's been going up for the past 10, 11 years. We can enter with some funds, not going to risk too much, and we're going to have a certain stop loss, and we're going to have certain targets, and we enter, let's say, with $1 billion, and if it hits to 3 billion, we start exiting, and we start exiting more and more aggressively the more it goes up. And these people, they're never going to hold for 100x or 20x. They're here for the 2 or 3x, right? Like that's insane. A 2x deal in a few months, like that's crazy money.
With those kind of sums, right? With billions.
Yes, but I would say a 2x is 2x for anyone. Like if you're a person that for you 10 grand is a lot of money, it's 10 grand. That's a lot of money for you. So my point is though that they will never hold for the principles reasons. They'll always sell. They don't care. They don't want the Bitcoin. What they want is that the value that they can get out from trading it. And that value, they're going to lock it in US dollars, and then they're going to use the value for whatever they want.
Yeah. And I think more and more players, at least the big players, are entering for that. I think on one hand, you have those big players entering purely for speculation, purely for monetary value. On the other hand, you have those big whales, which are the OGs, which own thousands of Bitcoins from 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago. So they are matched, but the new money flowing in, at least the potential, how much money they can put in, it's insane, right? And I think the game is changing just because of when we were looking at the first bull run, right? The first parabolic run, it made a 12x. It made a 12x because the market cap of Bitcoin was much, much smaller, and it was easier to sustain that bull run, right?
And again, though, everyone was bullish. If the hodlers were not bullish, they were going to be selling at much earlier than $200, right? At $50, at $60, at $80, and so on. They were still bullish. And then we got to the point where at $200, maybe they were still bullish, but they were like, okay, this is unreasonable not to lock in the profits right now. So my point is that in order to have the parabola, you have to have equilibrium between the new money coming in and the people who hold the Bitcoins, that they both agree the price is going to go higher. And at one point, the holders are going to be like, sure, it might go higher, but I already made too big of a profit not to lock it in. And when the amount of these people outweigh the amount of fresh money coming into the market, this is when the parabola starts. But in order for the parabola ends. In order for the parabola to start, though, you have to have bullishness on both sides. And now if you check the fear greed index, we are really not ready for a parabola. Like we have to get at least to 50, get some green candles, get to 60, get some more green candles, and then we'll have a parabolic move that's going to become like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And then again, the dreams and hopes are going to be crushed again just because people are going to have too unreasonable profits not to walk in. But here is the difference, though. When you have amateurs and you have people playing with a few grand, in order to get to millions, they have to have really a lot of excess added on their portfolio. But when you have hedge fund managers managing 30 billion, 50 billion, 100 billion, and for them, literally 50% in a month is crazy gain, and they want to walk in these profits in order to be able to walk in the percent of the profit that goes for them, it literally just stifles the fire of the parabolic moves.
Yeah. It depends, right? Because Michael Saylor, I think, is a completely different type of investor than some other players are. But it also depends, right? Some of them, sure, they are just, oh, I made a 2x. I'm happy. I made so much money, like much more money than I did in the previous 10 years. On the other hand, maybe because it's a new asset, right? Some of them will say, okay, maybe this is different. Maybe we should do it differently. Maybe we can wait for 3x, 4x. I'm not sure. Like, they definitely have different models. They definitely have like a team of quants and team of analysts that just look at this. They analyze much more than we can. They have experience in different markets. They can see things we don't have access to. So yeah, it's everything is possible. On the other hand, I also think those institutions investing billions, they also do some market manipulation, right? I definitely think they can do it. They have enough money to do it. The question is just, can they do it profitably, right? So can they pump the price of Bitcoin or suppress the price of Bitcoin to their advantage, that they can make profit or not? That's a good question, in my opinion. I think it can be done. It's just like, how much capital do you need to do it and how efficient it is, right?
When the volumes were much smaller, when the crypto capitalization was much smaller, there was less money at stake. And at that time, exchanges having access to the order books and all the hidden info about where, at what level, what liquidations you have, and so on, that information was not that valuable. At this point, though, where the daily volume is of billions, where the open interest is over 20 billion, and so on, like, there is too much money at stake, where if you sell the information to the right bidder, you have guaranteed profit. You're just getting the fee. And at the same time, if you expect what they're going to do with that information, you can even take advantage of that, because you expect a certain move being pushed, regardless if it's going to be cascading liquidations down or short squeeze up, and so on. And I would say that yes, there is massive manipulation happening both directions, just going over the open interest, going over that money. I would say that Wyckoff accumulation distribution schematic absolutely makes sense, that someone is orchestrating it. And you said that how can they like pump the price and then profit from it? Absolutely. If you make enough green candles and you create FOMO and you pay, the thing is, that's the difference. Now you can, these people have enough money to actually create the correct media attention and media angle on crypto, that when the price is pumping and they're ready to sell in another 10-20% up, they pay to the correct media with the most coverage, that Bitcoin analyst said it's going to 400K, and analyst said this and analyst said that, and you have this fresh money coming in, and let's say it's in the range of billions, but because you're selling, that's it, the price just froze. And the moment it starts dipping, you buy the dip in order to sustain the run up. Again, though, you're stifling it. Like, you don't allow it to go up, because if it goes up, you sold too early, right?
Yeah.
So you suppress the price. And now with these services of people renting their Bitcoin against 4% interest rate a year, or whatever it was, I think it was even less. Actually, you're literally giving ammunition to these massive whales. And when I say whales, I don't mean crypto whales, I mean money whales, to literally play their games without giving any care about the asset. They don't care. All they care about is playing the market, moot point their dollars.
Yeah. No, I would agree. The question is, though, do whales also fight among each other? Because like yes, big entities, they can move the price, right? And they can pay for good news, bad news, whatever. What if they step on each other's toes? What
They
do
do,
you think?
for sure. They're fighting constantly. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They do know. Maybe they don't know, especially if they're not in the same room, but they do anticipate what the others are doing, And of course, they're trying to front run each other constantly.
Yeah.
So it is a war, without a doubt. Like, regardless if it's going to be between crypto OGs that have thousands and thousands of Bitcoin and standard institutions. Like, if you're a crypto OG and they know that they're messing up with your bull run, and instead of having a nice parabolic bull run where you can sell half your portfolio as close to the top as possible, keep the other half, and then live off your life, and then during the bear market reaccumulate. And when you have when you know that these people are messing up with your bull run, you have to play by the music that they are playing. Otherwise, they're just literally messing you up.
Yeah. Good stuff. And what do you think? Like the last Friday's dump, right? It happened. When did it start happening? The dump. It happened during the night. Let me check the chart exactly. If you go to the daily, not daily. We need like 4 hours. So the last candle. So we already had like a small dump, right? And the last big candle, which was a 4-hourly 10K candle. I think that was. I'm not sure if it is, but I think it's the first 10K candle 4-hourly, and it started happening at 5 a.m. Which means at that time the liquidity was super low, and some entity just said, let's run the stops. And what they do is they start massively selling, and that selling then is accelerated by stops. So if you're a buyer and you have a stop loss, or if you get liquidated, it doesn't matter. Your buy basically becomes a sell at that point when you're forced into selling, which means you are accelerating their sells. And once it gets to a point where there is less buyers than sellers, just the price just goes insane, right?
You put in 2 billion to force 5 billion of sales, and you buy their sales lower than where you bought, right? Because you pushed it. You saw the top, literally. You saw the top, which cascaded into another 5 billion sales with your 2 billions. And then literally you can buy the tip with your 2 billion. You can buy 5 billion worth of sales from other people because it's at lower prices.
I think the risk here is, let's say it's 2 billion. Let's say I have no idea what the numbers are, but let's say it's 2 billion. The risk is I sell 2 billion and I don't move the price enough and I don't trigger the stop losses. So that's one. So I wasted 2 billion. I sold 2 billion and then the price shoots up and I have to rebuy higher. So I lost my money. The second risk is that you do trigger the stop losses, but your buys are too low. So you miscalculated how low it will go. So that's also one risk. So you basically trigger it and then it recovers without you. And you have to buy maybe at the same point, like maybe you haven't lost money, maybe you did, but it's not the maximum. So I think you need to be quite good with numbers here, just to know like how much open interest there is and how much it's gonna push it down. Like, is it gonna be a 10K candle? Is it gonna be like 10%, 20%? Like, it's not easy, right?
I would say that I would agree that it's not easy, but I would say that the risk is much lower than what you think. And here is why. When we're talking about that much money, you don't leave things to chance. You have data to all exchanges, to all the orders in real time, and you run a script in real time that takes how much you have to sell to push the price, and then how much is the first cascading liquidation going to push down, and let's say that there is a gap to the next ones, and then how much you have to sell at that level to push those as well, and then how much sales you're going to force at that point. And then you calculate which is the best point to, let's say, if you push more and more and more, you're going to be hitting more and more and more stop losses. But at one point, it's going to become not cost effective. So with the script, which is just you get the inputs, you run through a formula and just calculates at this level, you're going to make 30% profit. At this level, you're going to make 170% profit, and so on and so on. And to me, again, without any insider information, but this is how I would imagine it works, and this is how I imagine these people are doing it, is just there is no risk involved, or absolutely minimal, because you wouldn't be risking these billions. Like, you must have guarantees by these people. They might even stop any additional orders executing or letting you front run orders in order to make sure that you get your share, you get what you promised. So if you put 2 billion, and let's say you're looking for 50% profit, you're going to make 3 billion total. There is no problems giving 100 million to exchanges or whatever in order to pay for their service. Again, this is absolute specula. Maybe exchanges are not doing that. Maybe they're not giving this information, even though I know they are. And who's using it? It could be even orchestrated between multiple entities just to make sure that someone is not playing against the tide.
Yeah, that's pretty big conspiracy theory, isn't it? No, I mean, conspiracy. We all know that there are entities playing with our money here. We just don't know how far their tentacle reaches, right? So how far they can reach. Do they reach all the big exchanges? I don't think they can reach all the big exchanges. Let's say I don't think there is an entity that can manipulate Binance, Coinbase, all of them, right? I don't think that's happening. Smaller ones for sure. Some of the bigger ones maybe. All of them, I don't think so. I think they have too much money already.
And this is why there is arbitrage opportunities, though. On some places, Bitcoin fell to what was like 30K or something, or 28K, right? Compared to other places. So my point is that you don't need to reach all. You don't, like, half is enough, right? A bunch of the small ones, a few of the big ones. Let's say Coinbase, let's say it's too legit. They're not going to participate. Sure. I'm going to do it on Binance. I'm going to do it on Bitfinex. I'm going to do it on KuCoin. I'm going to do it somewhere else. And that's good enough. Because you check also what amount of money do the arbitrageurs have in store ready to buy the dip, because they're going to want to buy your dip and sell it somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
And if there is not enough liquidity, let's say they have, 200 million, all the arbitrages together, but that's fine. You're going to eat through it. They're going to buy your dip, yeah, sure, but that's fine, because you're going to push the price enough to, by the time they buy here to sell there to make their arbitrage deal, that's fine. But after that, they're not going to have the funds to buy the further dip and capitulate on that. Because again, I forgot on which exchange it was. You could have bought Bitcoin at 28,000, and not back in June, but now. And you could have insta-sold it somewhere else at 40K, right? So that's a 10K arbitrage deal right there. And someone most probably didn't take advantage of that. He literally just bought Bitcoin, I don't know, like let's say at 45K and sold somewhere else at 46K, ran out of money, and then they continued pushing the price down.
Yeah. Cool. So one last question from me. Do you think a parabola move is necessary to end this cycle or not?
In my head, there's two things that could end this bull run. First thing is a parabolic move, unsustainable, that pushes the price too high too quickly. A lot of people lose their money at the top. By lose, I mean they bought something that's worth less and they panic sell or just hold it, and they're not willing to buy more, or even if they are, they don't have enough funds. And then the dip becomes into a correction. The correction becomes into a mild bear market. The mild bear market becomes into a large bear market. So this is the one thing where the sentiment around crypto is going to change from, crypto is cool, crypto is going up, to, for the past 6 months, crypto is just going down and down. It's dead. The same way it happened in 2018. In 2021, since April top, since the big capitulation in May, when we cascaded the liquidations down, it took total of less than 3 months to start going up again. So we didn't have enough time to be really bearish. And 6 months later, 7 months, we're already at a new all-time high. But if we hit 6 months going down, it's over. Like, people are going to become more and more bearish, and everyone's gonna just cut their losses and so on. By everyone, I mean obviously the new people, not the people who are in crypto since a while. So this is the first scenario, for which we do need a parabolic move up. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to have a very deep and very long correction. And in the second scenario is just like a very bad macro economical situation, like what's happening with Evergrande. They defaulted on their debt. Like, we are not sure what exactly is going to be the ripple effect of that yet. Maybe someone knows, but for us, most probably it's going to be hindsight in a year or two.
Once you see what happened, you say, oh, maybe that caused it, but you won't see it immediately, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, my opinion, I'm still, this is like everything is odds, right? In life, everything is odds. And I still think we have like 70-80% of chance to see this this cycle. But nothing is certain, nothing is for sure. So I still think like I in my opinion, it's high probability it's gonna happen, but it's not a necessity. And yeah, I agree. So either your first scenario happens or something that didn't happen in the last two bull run cycle tops, because the last two bull cycles, they were pretty uneventful in terms of global stock moves, global economic crashes. So we hadn't had a proper crash since 2008, right? Like, I mean, a massive one. That sure, there was this the Corona crash, but that was more of an insta crash and then insta recovery. So yes, it was big in terms of percentages, but it wasn't like a proper bear market. Like, at least it didn't feel to me like that.
Since crypto started, we are in perma bull. Since 2008, 2009, just S&P 500 quants new all-time highs constantly. And therefore, to me, every single crypto winter so far was literally caused by a parabolic move, where too many people that bought earlier are in profit and they're like, okay, that's it, I'm out. I need to walk in these profits.
Yeah.
And the people walking in the profits are just more or just with higher capital in terms of measured in crypto than the newcomers. And when the prices are lower, there are still not too many, but the more the prices rise up, now people just want to sell. So all crypto winter so far were caused by that. And interesting thing is, even though they printed trillions of dollars, now when we had some issues around the new variant of the thing going around from people to people, I don't want to say the word just in case, and the Evergrande situation, the dollar went up, right? At least against the euro and so on. So that to me again just shows how people still look at the dollar as the safe haven asset. Just sell everything else. I want to have the dollar.
And maybe not that the dollar is a safe haven. Maybe everything else is less of a safe haven than dollar. So it's not that I like the dollar. It's more like I like it more than the rest. Like, it's the least shittiest of all the shit currencies, right? So it might be okay. I don't like British pound. I don't like euro. I don't like dollar. But the dollar is the one that I least dislike, right? Maybe it's something like that. I mean,
Yes.
it would make sense. It should be the stablest if something big happens. Like your personal opinion, if we have a huge, massive economic crash, do you think US or Europe will be better off? Like, in terms of price, in terms of currency, right?
In terms of currency, I think the dollar.
And
In
that's
terms of situation within the countries, though, but again, it has to be US if their dollar is strong. Because my point is that I'm not sure how working is the economy of US because their debt goes up and up and up. Not that Europe's doesn't, but again, I don't know. I can't say a strong opinion, but I want to super quickly go back to the why I said safe haven for the dollar. My point is that it wasn't about the different fiat currencies one against another. It was literally around, okay, there is risks. What do? I sell my stocks and I buy real estate. I sell my stocks and I buy gold. Everything went down. The dollar went up because everyone put their value in the dollar. So this is why I meant like the safe haven. I get it why it is, because yes, it's less shit than everything else. But apparently, people just decided if there is inflation, we know that, but I better eat the inflation percent than risk keeping my value in stocks or keeping it even in gold. So therefore, what I'm saying is gold is definitely not a safe haven as of right now. People just don't put enough trust in it. It doesn't behave the way it's supposed to behave. And Bitcoin, though, again, isn't, not at all. It's miles away. So this is why in economical crash, maybe in the future, in 10, in 15, in 20 years, Bitcoin is going to be the safe haven, and Bitcoin is going to go up when everything else goes down. But sadly, as right now, it's a risk on and risk off asset, as you mentioned was.
It is. I definitely agree. It just the correlate, like it does decouple from the risk on, the risk of assets at points, but in extreme events it's completely coupled. Like if it's risk off, Bitcoin goes down. It's just a reality.
So are we going to have a parabolic move? In my opinion, chances are sadly not that great, meaning that from 10K to 60K, the capitalization was smaller, and we still didn't have these large institutions in. Now that we do, chances are that they're going to be played smart. At 2x, they sell. At 3x, they sell more. At 4x, they sell more. They won't be hodling for that 10x.
Yeah.
And therefore, the 10K to 60K parabola, like it made sense. It was still early for the institutions to still early as a price, because at 10K, what were like 200 billion capitalization for Bitcoin? That's like nothing, right? Now, though, the trillion going to 5 trillion, which is 250K, it might take literally the next 3 years, next to the next halving. And then what this would mean is that pretty much the halving is going to be playing not that major role in the crypto cycles. It will be more of a global sentiment, what's happening. And if things are good, Bitcoin goes up. If things go bad, though, 80% correction just coming.
Yeah,
And can
I
start
agree.
even right now. Right now at 50K, we could have 80% correction down to 10K if we have a bear market of next 2 years in everything, not just in crypto, but in real estate, just deflating the prices, and in S&P 500 and every other index.
Definitely. It's completely possible. I still think it's not super highly likely, but as you said, if something like that happens, that would trigger it. I definitely agree. Cool. I think this was good. Thank you for your time, Plamen, and thank you everyone for watching. Keep watching our channel, and just let's be surprised what we're gonna discuss next time. Bye, everyone.
Yep. Bye. See you next week.